All right, first and foremost, we'll give all praise to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakam,
the ones and apostles of the great millstone, shalom to brothers in the highways and byways, doing the word sincerely and faithfully. Once again, we had another Passover during the time of year of Karagma, which is known as the RFID microchip. And, we're here doing a quick lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua. Once again, this isn't something that we're going to publicize. We're going to do a quick lesson and then perform the Passover service afterwards. You know, as you people may see some of these guys out here, gloating and glistening, clamoring for the Passover. And we know this is a solemn assembly, man. There's a solemn time, man, for the time that when we came out of Egypt, coming through that Red Sea and the punishment we underwent through Egypt and through Pharaoh and all the harsh, bondage we suffered, So we're gonna just go through this. We're gonna roll with the spirit. There's nothing written down. There's no script. We're gonna roll with the spirit. We're gonna just continue on.
Yeah, I just wanted to say real quick. We can hit this script. We was driving up here, me and the brother on the one, and it came to me. I said, never hang your hat on something that you did 5 years ago. And what I meant by that was, sometimes, you reach a level of comfort being in the truth, and as brothers should know, the Heavenly Father is a power of what have you done for me lately? What is the last thing that you've done for me? Not what you did, 15 years ago, and now you just, I did that thing. And, you're just kind of sitting there relaxing on that thing you did some time ago. You should always be looking for the next thing to do to show your faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. What's next? I did this thing. Okay, what's next? Whether it be what's the next show you're gonna do? What if a brother needs your help, how you gonna be able to help him? If whatever the case may be, you should always be looking to to the next thing.
Beautiful. I appreciate it.
Go ahead, brother.
I'm sure you brothers will catch it. It's based off Josiah's. He threw the most clamorous Passover, and Israel has ever seen. And then later on, he disobeyed orders. But it goes to show you, just because you keep the Passover or you even throw the most glamorous Passover, or what you did 5 years ago has nothing. It means nothing. Today is the most important day. So this is 1 Ezra chapter 1, verse 1. And Josiah held the feast of the Passover in Jerusalem unto the Lord. And he offered the Passover the 14th day of the first month, having set the priests according to their daily course, being arrayed in long garments in the temple of the Lord. And he spoke unto the Levites and the holy ministers of Israel, that they should hallow themselves unto the Lord, and set a holy ark of the Lord in the house of that King Solomon, the son of David, had built, and said, Ye shall no more bear the ark upon your shoulders. Now therefore serve the Lord your power, and ministers unto his people, Israel, and prepare you after your families and kindreds, according to as King David prescribed, and according to the magnificence of Solomon his son.
Right, so he was in the right frame of mind, making sure that everything was done the right way. Everything was done as good as possible, right? But is that it, right? Is that the only thing that he ever has to do ever again? You get some men who, again, hang their hat on something that they did years ago. They got one proud moment and they just act like an asshole, the rest of their life. You gotta think of the next thing good to do for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Go ahead.
And standing in the temple according to the several dignity of the families of you, the Levites, who minister in the presence of your brethren and the children of Israel. Offer the Passover in order, and make ready the sacrifices for your brethren, and keep the Passover according to the commandment of the Lord, which was given to you unto Moses. And unto the people that was found there, Josiah gave 30,000 lambs and kids, and 3,000 calves. These.
What's that scripture? I want to say it's in Samuel, where it says, "It is better to obey than to give a sacrifice of food." Somebody pull that up for me. Go ahead, brother Salaka.
These things were given of the king's allowance, according as he had promised to the people, to the priests and to the Levites. And Hilkiah and Zacharias and Asilius, the governor of the temple, gave to the priest for the Passover 2,600 sheep and 300 calves. And Josiah and Semarias and Nathan his brother and Asbias and Ocho and Joram, captains over thousands, gave the Levites for the Passover fire 5,000 sheep and 7,000 calves. And when these things were done, the priests of the Levite, having unleavened bread, stood in a very calmly order according to the kindreds.
Right. So at face value, you would think that this man is doing the right thing. You know, we providing all the victuals, you know, for the event. You know, telling everybody to, you know, go hallow yourselves. You know, get prepared for this day, right? And you would think at face value that he had the right frame of mind. And again, there's men that you can see like out in Israel, you know, putting up videos on a regular basis. You know, you feel like they're in the spirit, but then it turns out that, you know, they was being wicked behind closed doors. You know, you gotta you know, one thing, you know, you learn this truth is, you know, what kind of man are you when nobody's watching? That's the type of man you want to be. A good man when nobody's watching you, when there's no honor in it, when there's no glory in it, right? You're not gonna get in the war. You're not gonna get a pat on the back. What type of man are you gonna be when you're by yourself? Mm-hmm. Are you in doubt when you're by yourself, right? Are you thinking evil thoughts against brethren when you're by yourself, right? These are the things that you need to focus on. It's instead of, you know, being this, you know, I did this thing, you know, and you sitting back with your legs crossed, chest out, like you some great man. And every time there's hundreds of examples of it in the mere 11 years I've been around. There's hundreds of examples of it where you rest people have rested their hat on just this one event. You know, there's a lot of
to the point.
Yeah, please.
This is verse 25. I'm skipping down to verse 25.
Yep.
Now after all these acts of Josiah's, it came to pass that Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, came to rise a war at Charjezim upon Euphrates, and Josiah went out against him. But the king of Egypt sent unto him, saying, What have I to do with thee, O king of Judah? I am not sent out from the Lord, Aslakia. Am I not sent out from the Lord, thy power against thee? For my war is upon Euphrates, and now the Lord is with me. Yea, the Lord is with me, hastening me forward.
Right.
Depart from me,
Right.
and be not against the Lord.
Right. This ain't got nothing to do with you. You know, that's another thing too. Being worried about, you know, what somebody else is doing, what another camp is doing, how another camp handles their business. Worry about, you know, what you got going on in your camp with your brothers. You know, you got some brothers who you know, they worried about what other camps are doing across the country, and they treat their own brothers like garbage. You know, and that ain't the way to be. You know, go ahead.
How about big Josiah did not turn back his chariots from him, but undertook to fight with him, not regarding the words of the prophet Jeremiah spoken by the mouth of the Lord, but joined battle with him in the plain of Megiddo.
Right. He thought he was untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
He thought he was untouchable. I'm Josiah. I'll do the greatest Passover Israel has ever seen. So he thought that, you know, he was invincible due to that.
Right. Not only that, but he knew the Lord was on his side.
Right.
And you know, you sometimes, even in the truth, man, you know, men who understand this thing, you go about your way of life knowing that you're in the truth, knowing that you know the Lord's name, and you go out there thinking nothing's gonna happen to you because the Lord is on your side. But you gotta be humble, man, because the Lord will bring you down, man. He'll knock you down a few steps. So like Josiah went out there, you know, with his chest puffed out like, yo, I'm Josiah, I throw the best Passover ever. The Lord is with me. When in actuality, the Lord came against him because he disobeyed what the Lord's commandment was. Good, you'll read it.
it says, and the king but joined the battle with him in the plain of Megiddo, and the princes came against King Josias. Then said the king unto his servants, carry me away out of the battle, for I am very weak. And immediately his servants took him away out of the battle. Then gave he up upon his second chariot, and began to be brought back to Jerusalem, died, and was buried in his father's sepulchre. It says,
and that's that, man. And that's that. You know, so it will behoove every man to exercise a good level of humility, man. You know, being humble in this truth, and you'll have these moments where you get proud, but you got to check it immediately. Learn to get inside your mind and check those weak things. Learn to have a meeting with yourself and sit down and say, you know, how did I behave today? You know, what could I have done better today? Learn how to have those meetings with yourself and stay and keep yourself humble. That's it, man. That's the most important thing, if nothing else. You know, maintaining a good level of humility. You know. You got let me get this one, and then we'll go over here, then we'll go over there, then we'll go to you.
This is 1 Samuel 15 and 22.
Yeah.
And Samuel said, "Had the Lord as great dignity, as the Lord has great delight in burnt offering and sacrifices, as in obeying the voice of the Lord."
Right. So he will rather you obey him than you to, I got 10 T-shirts with fringes and a bordeaux blue, you know. Or I had a dinner and cooked for a brother one time. You know, it's better to be obedient to the Lord than to give sacrifices, man. You know, go ahead.
I continue on.
Yep.
Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams.
Right. That's it. What I say next? You? Or this one? Oh, I got you.
Yeah, I'm gonna find something else.
Okay. Go ahead.
Proverbs 29, verse 23. Man's pride shall bring him low, but honor shall uphold the humble of spirit.
That's right, man. That's right. You get honor from being humble. Matter of fact, give me what is that? I think it's Peter.
Yeah, humble yourself.
What is it? Is it 2 and 19?
Yeah, 5, 1 Peter chapter, humble yourself in the Lord and the hand will lift you up.
Well, you can read that.
Yeah, 5 and
Go ahead.
Luke 5, 6.
14 and 11. For whosoever exalteth himself shall be abased,
That's right.
and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted.
Right. The Lord will give you the glory in due time. You know, you got don't work in this thing to get glory. Work in this thing because it's the right thing to do. You work and you accomplish your job so that you can feel good about the job you did, not the reward or the glory that's gonna come from it. You know. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead
First
now.
Peter chapter 5, verse 6.
Yep.
And it reads, humble yourself therefore unto the mighty hand of Yahweh Shai, that he may exalt you in due time.
That's right. That's right. So you gotta be humble, man.
Right.
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna say this. You know, being humble is a great trait to have when you come into this truth, man. You know, because the scriptures speak about what? Pride puffeth up.
Right.
You know, and men get prideful, and when men gets prideful, no one can tell them shit. You know. Now let me get something real quick. Let me get 2 Corinthians.
13?
Yep.
Got it.
5.
Yeah, 13 and 5.
Go ahead.
2 Corinthians 13 and 5. Examine yourself whether you be in the faith.
Right.
Prove your own self.
Right. Examine yourself. You know, you ain't fooling nobody, man. You ain't nobody. You can't. First of all, you ain't fooling y'all about me outshot. The Lord knows who you are, knows your spirit. And secondly, being real with your brothers, first and foremost, is very important, man. If you come out to the camp and you just think you're gonna just go through the motions and you're just gonna come out there and play both sides of the tracks, come out on speaking day, but during the week be a wicked ass and who knows what you're doing, you gotta examine yourself whether you be in the faith or not, man. Likewise, we got the Passover tonight. The Passover just isn't tonight, man. You gotta hold your fast 7 days, man. You gotta hold fast 7 days. That doesn't mean, all right, Passover's over, now I'm gonna go get wild. You gotta keep yourself in good standing, man. and reflect on what this really means and what this is really about, man. We're at the end of this thing. We're about to get the hell out of here. But do you think the Lord is going to come down and deliver you if you're a double-minded individual? Examine yourselves, man. Whether you really be in the faith or whether you really want to be about this, man. If you want to be pretty, you want to be a pretty boy, you go to the pretty boy camps. But if you want to be solemn, matter of fact, somebody look up the word solemn. Because this is known to be a what? Solemn assembly. A very serious assembly. There's no joking and fooling around, and you're going to see many other individuals holding their Passovers. And this is what draws Jake into that foolishness, into that folly. All the glitz and glamours and the strobe lights and shit. Go ahead.
A solemn assembly is a formal or sacred procedure. Solemn assemblies is held as a dedication of the temples. Let me see.
Hold on. Formal or sacred. Formal or sacred. Therefore, you don't invite any old nigga to your solemn assembly, man. You don't just bring some nigga off the street just because he got a record deal or he makes music. There's a formal and a sacred assembly we got here. And look up the synonyms on solemn.
Who has
song? I got it right here.
I said, look up some of them synonyms.
Dignified,
Go ahead.
ceremonious,
Yep.
ceremonial, stately, courtly, serious, grave, sober,
Grave, sober, serious,
unsmiling,
unsmiling,
stern, grim.
stern. Now, doesn't the scripture says a wise man does scarcely smile but a little? And this is the time we're coming in, man. 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, there was a lot more laughter, a lot more jubilance in one's spirit. But as it becomes very bitter in your stomach, and you see the wickedness of the devil Esau and the shit that he's doing, it becomes, you don't want to smile too much, man. You don't want to laugh and giggle with motherfuckers too much, man. And here's the time, man. It starts today. It starts every day. Go ahead, need a few more.
Humorless, gloom,
Humorless, gloom. Now, when you see some of these other cats in their Passovers, do they look humorless? Do they look like it's gloom? Does it look like a solemn assembly to you? No. That's it on that, brother. Good. Go ahead. I'll be back.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 16, verse 15. And he said unto them, Ye are they which justify yourselves before men, but the Most High knoweth your heart.
Right. Hold on. You got a lot of men who justify themselves before men. Okay? So much so, these cats worship the men who are trying to justify themselves than to rather go with the spirit and be in a spiritual state of mind. Like, all right, you know what? This ain't what I want. This isn't where I need to be. This path isn't the path I need to be walking down. You know, we're not trying to justify ourselves before men. We always say this, man. The way you see us on camera is the same exact way we are off camera. It's not about games and gimmicks and putting on a front for the camera as soon as the video pops up. We going live right now. You see the way brothers are? When I came in here, you see how quiet it is? Brothers was in the same spirit. Brothers wasn't talking as much. Brother wasn't loud. Brother wasn't laughing. Because we are in those solemn times, man. Them serious times. Where now you pray and fast that Yahweh Shem Yahushua have mercy on you to bring you through the fire, man. This ain't a joke, man. We keep reiterating. This shit is not a joke, man. You got it. Go ahead. One more?
For that which is highly esteemed among men is an abomination in the sight of the Most High.
Right, and I ain't gotta name no names. You see these cats who want to be highly esteemed among men, walking around, capes flying all over the place, wristbands, and the light hitting the wristband and shimmering and shit. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Luke 12:40. It said, Be ye therefore ready also, for the Son of Man cometh at an hour when ye think it not.
Right. Now, if you want to be a part of a Passover that's Jubal, you ain't gonna be ready, man. You ain't gonna be ready when Yahweh Shai comes back. And a lot of you people you ain't thinking about the Lord, man. You ain't thinking about the Lord coming back. You're just trying to build up your community and extort your fellow members, so to say. Go ahead.
Down to 42. Verse 41. Then Peter said unto him, Lord, speakest thou this parable unto us, or even to all? Verse 42. And the Lord said, Who then is that faithful and wise steward,
Right.
whom his Lord shall make ruler over his household, to give them their portion of meat in due season.
Right, a faithful and wise steward is going to do as commanded. When you read the book of Exodus, okay, the 12th chapter, it tells you how to perform this Passover, man.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
Exodus chapter 12, verse 11. And thus shall you eat it with your loins girded.
Loins.
Your loins girded.
Yep.
Your shoes on your feet.
Yep.
And your staff in your hand. And you shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover.
Right. When we get through with the service and we dive into the food, we eat it in haste, man. Brothers ain't kicking back and yeah, brother, we eat that food in haste. Because when we were coming out of Egypt, we wasn't coming out on some old yo party over here, y'all. We was coming out in haste. Your loins girt and your shoes on your feet. That's a very important thing to remember, man. Eating this thing in haste, as our forefathers did. I have yet to find a scripture, any of us have yet to see or find a scripture where it says that, Israel didn't do it in haste, or Israel was just like, it doesn't matter. Especially in these times, we're trying to get ourselves out of here, man. We're trying to get delivered out of here. And as the brother read, what kind of servant you're going to be when the Lord does come and find you, man? What kind of servant you going to be? Everybody got to speak on it, brother? Speak. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. It's this is Philippians 2:12. Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence. Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling.
Right, you work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, man, and that's really what it's about. There was a spirit of fear today, right? And it should have been, because this is the time of the year where the Heavenly Father comes through with that besom and cleans house, man. Every and without fail, every year is somebody around this time, and it's always the people that you least expect. So you have to be fearful. You think that when Moses came to the children of Israel and told them, like, look, the Lord is gonna kill some things, man. So take that hyssop and smite your doorposts and make sure that you do everything that I tell you to a T. You think they was in there happy and laughing, and now they were scared, man. They were scared because the Lord was gonna sweep through there with death, man. And that's the spirit you need to be in. Like what's that? Proverbs 1:7. Somebody want to get that? Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, I got it.
Amos chapter 9, verse 9.
Yep.
Catch it.
Yep.
For lo, I will command and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations.
Right, and that's what's happening, man. The Lord is doing the sifting, and not only is He sifting us from the nations, but He's also sifting the wicked from us. If you imagine a sifter, right? If for those of you who cook, when you imagine that sifter, you shaking that sifter, and all the good grain is falling into your pot or your pan or whatever you're collecting the good grain in, and all those lumps and chunks stay in that sifter, and then you toss them, man. And it happens. It happens on a regular basis, and you got to pray to the Lord that you make it into that good grain, man. Go ahead, bro.
Like as corn is sifted in the seed, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth.
Right. So the Lord knows what He's doing. The Lord knows, and He's always got perfect timing. And I was just thinking this while the elder was talking. He does this so that the fear is maintained. Because like without fail, there's always somebody that gets suspended or gets kicked out or what have you, and the Lord does that to maintain that fear, man. And that's without a doubt.
Maybe just one more verse.
You got one more verse?
We got it.
Verse 10. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us.
Because you got people that think nothing is gonna happen to them, man. They think nothing is gonna happen to them, maybe because they are part of GMS, or maybe because somebody told them, oh, this is my man right here. This man know all the precepts, and then now you think you the shit because you reading all the precepts. Go ahead, bro.
God, that's it.
All right. Let's keep that, and then we'll end it on this one. I'll listen to you. Got something else. What you got, Will?
I got one, but
All right, we'll take that one. Go ahead.
Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7.
Yep.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge.
That's right.
But fool despise wisdom and instruction.
All right. So you gotta maintain that fear, man. Maintain that fear. It'll keep you in the right frame of mind.
Right. If I say And if you maintain that fear, you're gonna hold the Passovers accordingly. Just by maintaining that fear of the Lord, man. Just by knowing that we are those souls, those spirits that came out of Egypt, man. And now we're being brought back into remembrance. You know? We're being brought back into remembrance. That bitter herb, the Lord put that in place for a reason, man. For a specific reason. To bring you back in this body, but to bring you back into that time when we was coming through that place, man. That bitter herb was set up for a reason. Not to show how much your manhood is, how much manhood you got, and how much you can chomp down and look at other brothers and you look at me, I'm chomping. No, this is for a reason, man. You take it seriously. You eat it in remembrance of what we went through back in the ancient times, man. Go ahead, man.
Matthew 24, verse 46. Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing.
Right. Right. So now here we are doing the things as we have been commanded to do. The right way, the proper way. Showing that brotherly love. Continuing that faith in the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. You know, without murmuring, without, boasting ourselves. Without being, lifted up. You know, you see every one of these brothers in here, man. Every one of these brothers are in the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai because he has selected them. And he has selected them for a reason. And he's letting this fruit remain because we believe, we have faith through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai that we are in that number, Lord willing. Continuing on in the way the Lord told us to continue. You can't go wrong if you do the things by the book, man. You can't go wrong. Go ahead, one more.
This is Romans 12:1. I beseech you, brethren, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service.
Right, and that's what we're doing, man. This is our sacrifice. This is our plea to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai to save us, man, and deliver us. All right, so with that, we love all praises to
Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Bashem Rakakadash.
the honor to the elder apostles of GMS. We rule well, and honor and salutation to the hopeful elect. With that, we say shalom.
Shalom.